Good morning. Good morning. Hi, everyone. I'm jumping on like right at 9 here. I'm usually on a few minutes earlier, but I had a call this morning that I'm going to talk about on here today. Good morning, Shay Lynn. Good morning, Broken Eggshells, Joey Cameron. Hello, everyone. Magda, give it another minute. Hi, Lori. Hi. So there's nothing like, I was coming on here and I was going to talk about something else, but this is super important. And I had a phone call with my daughter this morning. She's 29. She's incredible. She lives away, which is hard on a mother's heart. But she lives away, and she moved away to get her life back in order. And part of that was getting away from the wrong people, the wrong crowd, and really just focusing on herself. And she's done this real incredible job of finding things that bring her joy. She has been single for a while. She was dating someone a year ago and discovered that he was a narcissist. She was in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. And as a mother, knowing that I was in one also, and I'm having conscious conversations with my daughter about the relationships we're both in, I was very relieved when she was able to break free of this person. However, she lives in a small resort town and they were working together, and it just was one thing after another, and he was making her life hell. There was no way for her to go no contact, none at all. But eventually, things took care of themselves, and she was able to move on. So she phones me this morning because it was for some other reason that we were talking, and she phoned me this morning, and she brought up that she was feeling sad, and I asked her why, and she had met a guy who had stirred feelings up in her again. And we all know what that's like when we've been away from the narcissist and we've shut ourselves down, and we, the idea of dating isn't even in our realm of possibility. I'm getting to it, Jay Schmitz. Good morning, Carrie. So she's checking off the box, or she's telling me about how she's met this guy, and he's love bombing her. He's idealizing her. He's making her look like she is the girl for him. His exact words were, "You check off every box on my list." And she felt the same way. She felt the same way, that he was everything that she was looking for also. So then he just puts out on the table that he's seeing somebody else. And then says, but he's keeping it light and all this stuff. So anyway, he's put out there. The whole point I want to get to is that he comes to my daughter and tells her that he can't see her anymore because he's now, committing himself to this other person. And it would be disrespectful of him to continue being friends with Shaylin even. Can't be friends with her because it would be disrespectful. So now my daughter is crushed because he's been love bombing her and idealizing her and putting her in a place where she feels like she's floating on the clouds. And I had to one thing I don't try and do with my child is treat her like she needs therapy. So I try to, as a mom, just be a mom, but there are some times when I step in and I'm a mom and a coach. And I just went, you wait a second. You've worked too goddamn hard to get your shit together. You've worked too hard to focus on the things that bring you joy, that make you happy. Count your lucky stars that this guy found someone else who was willing to put up with more of his bullshit. All he had was a couple of energetic supplies. All of these women that he's been talking with are energetic supplies. And I hate to say it, I've had to say it to myself, but to my daughter, when it comes to a narcissist, we are nothing but a supply. They don't care about our heart. They don't care about how we feel. They'll pretend they do, but they don't, because they have what is often called on here in this community a hoe harem. So they have a hoe harem of women that they want to be hanging out with and choosing from and getting their supply from, and each one of those women give him something. My daughter escaped. Yes, her heart's gonna hurt. Her heart is going to ache for a little while. The cold comfort in that is that she's not going to be dragged through a relationship for any length of time with this person who is possibly and most likely a narcissist. When he has numerous women on the go and he's playing all of them and he's telling other people about how he's idealizing you to other people and then tells you that he can't see you anymore, well, it's just because he found a supply that gives him more of what he needs. Thank God, because that just means that you're not as gullible, that your boundaries are solid enough to say, yeah, no, this doesn't work for me. Boundaries sometimes look like walking away. As soon as you see a red flag, don't wait for it to slap you in the face. You see it waving, bye-bye. I told my daughter today, he said to her, you check off every box on my list. I said, you are not somebody's fucking checklist. You guys are not, all of you here, me, we are not boxes on a fucking checklist to be ticked off to see if we fit in, if we're what they're looking for. You are a beautiful human being who has survived some of the most incredible bullshit that any human would have to go through. Trusting someone, loving someone, hoping and praying that they're going to take care of your relationship and honor you and love you the way that you want to be honored and loved, and then only for all of that to be turned around on you and you become abused emotionally, psychologically, financially, sexually, physically. So the truth is now, when you see any of those red flags, what the fuck are you waiting for? Hightail it out of there. You are not somebody's checklist. You are not boxes on a fucking checklist. You are your own incredible human. So I came off the phone this morning with my daughter having that conversation about no. That's not my girl. That's not my girl. And before we got off the phone, she says, I cannot even wait to tell him I am not his fucking checklist. That's my girl. That's the girl who puts herself first, who is realizing her own self-worth. And this is it. This is it. Our self-worth. You know what? We're still going to... She was upset because she had feelings. She caught feelings for this guy. But he stirred them up in her by mirroring her and then projecting her own stuff back onto her by idealizing her and telling her how amazing and awesome and incredible she was. She is. She fucking is. She's my daughter. I know how badass she is. So she stirred feelings. She caught feelings for the guy. And now that he's chosen the supply that gives him the most, she's crushed. And I told her today, do you want a little fun fact, fun, cool fact? Here's the fact. Your body chemically responds to an event for a maximum of 90 seconds to 2 minutes. You have a chemical response in your body to something, whether it be grief, shock, fear, anger, happiness, joy, whatever. You have a chemical response within your body to an event, but it does not last more than 2 minutes. Afterwards, the chemicals within your body start to subside. Anything beyond that, you're either faking it or you're becoming addicted to the emotion. This is what happens with survivors because we've been trauma bonded and we are addicted to the conflict within the relationship. So when you leave, you have to break that addiction. So I told her today, I said, it's up to you. You can feel this for as long as you want. But I know that you're not a faker. So if you choose to stay in this emotion and in this feeling for too long, you're creating an addiction to that emotion. And that's when she said to me, I can't wait to tell him that I'm not a fucking checklist. That's my girl. That's my girl. Triangulation is terrible, and that's what's happening when they're seeing multiple people. Shay, if you're still on here. When somebody is seeing multiple people, it's called triangulation. And they use that to traumatize and to bond you to them. They create this competition, this jealousy amongst people that, amongst the ones that they're seeing. I remember when I met the narc, he was seeing multiple people and he openly said, I'm seeing all these people. And he thought that just excused him and absolved him of any responsibility toward how the women felt. Well, that's not normal. If you do not have compassion or feeling towards someone about how they feel, whenever I'd say, well, you know what, I'm kind of triggered by the fact that you're rubbing in my face that you're out with this woman and you're plastering it all over social media and you're not even giving a thought to how that makes me feel. And his response was, well, I told you that I was seeing somebody else. I told you that I'm free to see whoever I want and you're free to see whoever you want, until I started seeing other people. And then the game changed. Once I started seeing other people, well, then I was all he wanted. I became the focus, the bullseye, the target, the prize. I was the one he wanted, but made me understand that I was the lucky one because he chose me. See how that works? See how fucked up that is? So this is what was happening with my girl today in the last little while, is she was in this place of being idealized, love bombed, and mirrored and projected and triangulated with other women that he was seeing. So they do this on purpose. On purpose. To create an unconscious competition between the people in their lives. And I'm lit up right now because this is my girl. And I want to go down there and I want to beat that little fucker's ass. Fuck with my child. Mama Bear's here. But she's tough, man. She's tough. And she's vulnerable. And she told me how exhausted she is with this. It is exhausting. It's exhausting. Yeah, my girl. It's exhausting always having to protect yourself or shut parts of yourself down because there's vultures out there. And because of who we are, our personalities, we attract those vultures. So it's so important to set boundaries in place and understanding what those boundaries are, not just for yourself, but to impose upon other people who are crossing the fucking line. They're crossing the line. And sometimes the boundary isn't about stepping up and getting in their face about shit and telling them how they're doing you wrong. Sometimes the boundary is this and walking away. You don't have to give them any more time, any more of your energy than they've already taken from you. And not just intimate relationships, but people that are in your social circle or people that are in your workplace. Your boundaries, you need to have boundaries for others, but you need to have boundaries for yourself so that when something doesn't feel right for you, you're walking away. You're done. And that's not saying that every situation that you feel uncomfortable with or doesn't feel right doesn't deserve a moment of reflection to say, okay, is this something I just need to communicate with someone? Or is this just a really big red flag and I need to get going? Because we don't want to shut off the entire world. We don't want to shut down any opportunity again to love. And we don't want to shut people who actually truly care about us out, because then we just become bitter and angry and unapproachable. So becoming self-aware and what your boundaries are is so huge. And I think my daughter's 29. I'm 45 and just learning what those boundaries are. She's so much further ahead at 29 than I was at her age. And she's tough, you know, and we beat ourselves up when we get caught in something like that again, because we are going to start dating again. And we're going to run into narcissists. It's just about trusting yourself. It's just about saying, oh yeah, fuck, this hurt, man. This hurt because for a second, I caught a feeling. And now this person showed me who they are, and it doesn't feel good. That's gonna happen. But the quicker you get out, the faster you move and identify the flags and really look at your personality, because I'm telling you guys, you can say, oh, I've been through that before, I'll never go through it again because now I know all the signs. Lies. That's lies you're telling yourself. You need to know who you are, not who they are. Not who they are. You need to know who you are so that they don't get through. Because once you know your badass self, your tolerance level for bullshit changes. Because then you identify your self-worth and your self-value. Shanice, I've completely shut down. Don't know how to get out of this. You're in a crisis mode right now, Shanice. And you need to just take care of one thing at a time. One thing at a time. That's all you can do. Stop thinking that you have to save yourself completely right now. You've just got to manage certain things for yourself right now. So my girl's gonna be all right. She is all right. She's my girl. And the apple never falls far from the tree. And I'm proud that she's resilient and doesn't shut herself down completely. I'm proud that she's doing the work that she's doing. That's right. Just giving a thought about getting out is one step right there. That's the first step. Leaving is the first step. Thinking about leaving is the first step. Because for as long as you're thinking about trying to make it work or fix it or what can you do to make it better, you're not going anywhere. But Shanice, the fact that you're already contemplating leaving, absolutely right. Giving one thought about it is the first step. And all you got to do is one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. So that was my rant today. No, they can't be fixed anyway. It can't be fixed anyway. And this is the thing. Sometimes I wonder what I've taught my daughter by being in those relationships, because I'm someone who holds on for a lot longer than I need to, thinking I can make it better, or what have I got to do to make it work, and especially in abusive relationships. And when I'm already of that personality type where I hold on for longer than I need to and always try and make everything work, what does it mean when I'm in a psychologically abusive relationship where all thought process is diminished? What have I taught my child? What have I shown my child? She's her own person, and she can take what I've shown her and do better. And that's what I've always said to her. Your job is to take what I've taught you and evolve that and do better. That's it. I did the best I could as a human in the various stages of our lives, and I continue to try and show up and be a better person for her. Because I'm showing up trying to be a better person for myself. And then it's her. I've got some questions here. I left the narc. Life is good. Says, I left the narc in September of 2018 from Florida back to California. I miss him so much, and he's begging me to come back. First of all, no contact is the golden rule. You cannot heal and move on from this type of relationship until you've gone no contact. That means no communication whatsoever. Unless you have children or you're going through whatever proceedings, then modified contact. But no contact is the golden rule, or you're not going to give your space time to heal from this. What you're doing now is jonesing for that fix. You're addicted. You're addicted to the emotion. And that emotion, there's a charge that comes with that. And you keep going back for more, So now that you've gone no contact, life is good. Now that you haven't gone no contact, you've just moved across. Now he wants to see if you'll move back for him across the country, from one coast to the other coast, just to see what measures you'll go to for him. And then you're going to go back and nothing's going to change. It'll be good for maybe a month, maybe 3, but nothing's going to change. It's all going to revert back to the way it was before. And then even possibly get worse than what it was before, because now they really have you. And they'll convince you that this is fate. This is the love of your life. You're the love of their life. And then you're really stuck. Sweet Baby Love says, I can relate. My daughter and I were in a narc relationship at the same time, and we were both learning to heal. I think it's great when you can learn to heal together. I think it's, I feel very blessed to have the relationship I have with my daughter. We grew up together. I was 16 years old when I had her. So we grew up together, and it was just me and her against the world. And by God, if we didn't conquer it one day at a time. She's my person. She's my girl. Shanice, I've already left. I'm just stuck now because of the pregnancy. It depends on how you're moving forward with that. Shanice, we talked about that yesterday. Life is good because I love him beyond words. Of course you love him beyond words. You have the capacity to love. Narcissists do not. They have the capacity to manipulate, and they equate excitement in the relationship as love. So when you're making them happy, of course they love you. But even when you're going through a hard time with a healthy human being, and the conversation's not fun, and things are hard, you can still say I love you to one another. But that doesn't happen with a narc. If you've pissed the narc off, there's no I love yous. You're being stonewalled. You're being belittled, demeaned, degraded. You love. He doesn't. So you need to work on that addiction. And the first thing you need to do is go no contact. Claire says, sure, you've taught her well. You can be badass together. Oh, we are. Paula says, my biggest concern is my granddaughter. She was with us a lot from the time she was born, though he's the steppapa. She's been asking a lot of questions, and I've tried to explain as well as I can to a 4-year-old. The best thing, right now what you've got to do is teach your granddaughter boundaries. You don't have to explain to her that he was a horrible person or any of those things. What you need to do is teach her what boundaries are. Because when children are taught boundaries from a very young age, they don't find themselves in these kind of relationships. And that means having open conversations. This doesn't feel good, so you know what? If it doesn't feel good, you say, no, I don't want to do that. So it's teaching them to really listen to themselves, to trust the feelings that come up for them when they're little. Life is Good says, I went no contact for 6 months and then you needed a fix. No contact means that there's no way they can get through. And if they do, you don't respond. No response? Silence is the best way to say fuck you. Tracy, that's not the topic today, healing the resentment. That's coaching work. That's really heavy duty stuff. That's what I do one-on-one with people. I don't do actual coaching here in these lives. I just talk about topics that come up. Claire says, it always gets worse as they have to constantly push to see how far you'll go. And yeah, that's totally true. That's totally true. They want to know what extremes you'll go to for them until there's nothing left of you to give, until you're completely depleted. And you'll look at yourself in the mirror and you'll be unrecognizable to yourself. Oh, Tracy, sorry. Oh, yeah. The resentment of your child towards you for messing up your life because of the narc. That's a whole other conversation, and we're running short on time today. So can you send me, Tracy, I'm asking you to send me a direct message with this so that I have it in my notes so that I can talk about it. Please and thank you. Pinar, hello, beautiful. I changed the whole continent, came from Turkey to the States over 20 years, left all family and friends behind. I did everything in the best way. You cannot satisfy if someone is unsatisfied with anything. You'll change your entire life. You'll change your entire identity. You'll lose your sense of self with a narcissist. And it will never be enough. Never. There's not enough of you to give them. This is why they start seeking other supplies. And they'll do it by saying, oh, well, I'm just talking to this person on social media. Nothing's there. But they talk to that person all the time. They make inappropriate comments all the time so that they can create that triangulation again. Silence is golden. Does karma visit them? You know what? They're living their karma. They really, really are. They're miserable, self-loathing human beings. Can you imagine hating yourself so much that you have to torture other people? That's karma right there. They've been living it their whole lives. They're going to continue living it their whole lives. Your karma is that you get to move on, heal, and then start living a super badass life. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever dreams. You might not even know what dreams you have anymore because they've been suppressed for so long. Because you've been brainwashed for so long, because you've been dumbed down for so long that your brain actually has brain damage today. Your brain shrinks. Do you ever heal from the pain of their betrayal? Yes, when you realize that the only one who betrayed you was yourself. By not listening to your instincts, by not listening to every time that you felt like you should have left, for making excuses for them when they wronged you. That's the pain. That's the betrayal, is not listening to your own self. It is not a form of mental illness. This is a narcissistic personality disorder is a personality disorder. It falls under the same cluster B personality disorders as psychopaths, sociopaths, histrionic disorder, and bipolar disorder actually follows under there too. Bipolar actually is a personality disorder and not a mental health issue. It kind of teeters on that line a little bit. You know, so when you learn to trust yourself, this is the work we do one-on-one. And I'm a results-driven coach. I mean, I want to see shit happen, and we make it happen. So the only betrayal was to yourself when you don't listen. Anyway, you guys, we're on the, I know I jumped on here a little bit later, but we're at 9:31. We're on the half hour. Trust yourselves. And whatever it is that comes up for you, listen to yourself. Stop making excuses for these people. Stop making excuses. Oh no, he just, he's just trying to see if he's ready to be in a relationship. Or he's out of a bad relationship, so I understand that he wants to play the field. Stop making excuses for them. They're garbage. They're trash. To do to people what they do. It's not the other supply's fault, it's his. And on that note, I'm Trish of Badass Broad Coaching Company. I am a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to book some one-on-one time with me, book a consultation, and then start working into some sessions, click the link in my bio. If you're interested in joining the workshop on June 22nd, the link is also in my bio. I love you guys. You are badass fucking warriors. Have a great day and go rock the day.